Hi, and welcome to the Kappas Coaches Corner here at the YSN Network. I'm your host, John Aljancic, here at the Thomas Dental Studios with Coach Chris Kappas. Chris, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me again.
Good to see you again.
Great to see you.
Well, I tell you what, momentum building, excited. It's been fun to talk to you these last number of weeks as we've kind of gone from the off season to the preseason, but now it's opening week, and the excitement is building. But before we get to the opening week, let's talk about your last scrimmage last Friday at Boardman. You guys made the trip to Youngstown and played a game, Boardman Spartan team. And so Leopard's a 19-7 winner in that scrimmage. Now, granted, it is only a scrimmage, but I'm sure as a coach, you're happy to come away with a W.
Sure, yeah. I mean, you take a victory in the score column anytime you can, but ultimately you wanted to see our players handle a road trip. So, go through a full day, get on the bus, make sure they remembered all their stuff, get to a different place where they'd never been before and go through a warm-up routine, and then just go out and execute, not make too many mental mistakes. And, I thought we got better from going through that experience, and, it's taken us another step now towards where we're trying to get to and entering the regular season.
Sure. Now, with that scrimmage, obviously it's kind of hard to tell because you're kind of moving guys in and out, and you're not showing a lot, and obviously they're not showing a lot either, but what are some of the things you thought you did well as a team, and what's maybe some of the things that you want to improve upon as you enter into week one this week?
Well, we always want our identity to be a team that's going to run the football and stop the run. And so we're always going to go in, how can we run the football and create creative ways to get our best playmakers the ball in run game situations. And I thought we did that, through both scrimmages. Really, we were able to convert on some methodical drives that took, our first drive in the Boardman scrimmage took 7.5 minutes off the clock, which is awesome. That's some of the best defense that you can have when you can burn out some clock running the football, and then stopping the run. That was a team that they run the wing tee. Yeah. So that's a challenge to get ready for, in a week, let alone only spending a day or two to kind of prepare for it. So our guys handled that really well in a little different type of game plan setting, and we went out and we stopped their run pretty effectively in a non-conventional offense in terms of today's football. So I was very happy with the way we ran the football, the way we stopped the run, and then the way a lot of guys that were. We have a lot of position battles going on, so guys are really competing, and they're being asked to go in, come out, subbing in, and maybe playing multiple positions. And some guys really stepped up and shown when the lights come on in game time situations, they're raising their level up to really compete.
Well, I tell you what, also being at that scrimmage, getting there early and also watching the JV team play beforehand, it looks like from top to bottom. Your philosophy of fearless, fast, and physical is really being embraced, grades 9 through 12.
Yeah, I mean, we had the freshmen playing there. They started at 5 o'clock there, and our freshman staff is doing a really good job. And I think it's paying off that having that freshman squad with our varsity squad every single day. We practice together, and the varsity coaches are coaching those guys up on a daily basis. So. We're really spending a lot of time developing our younger players on a daily basis and getting them on film, getting them extra individual coaching. And, you go out in a setting like that, and it's a great group to begin with, our freshman class, and those kids, they go out and compete, and they're physical, and they're flying around, they're putting it on the line, and they're fun to watch, man. You look at the future of next couple of years of the grades coming up with that class at the heart of it. I think it's, we're looking like we're in a good spot.
Now, breaking camp now, and again, starting preparation for opening night with New Philly. Do you feel like your team has embraced because again, you guys have a mantra or a slogan going into each season, and this year's flip the coin. Do you feel like your team has embraced that mentality? Which one, if you could kind of maybe remind our viewers of what flip the coin means, and B, how your team has really responded to that.
Yeah, so flip the coin. We have a custom coin. I don't know if I got it in my pocket here. I do. Right, so we carry these around, but it has our core values on it, and it's double-sided. The same thing on both sides. So whenever there comes time where maybe you don't feel like going out and going hard in the second practice, or you're tired, or whatever decision comes to mind, hey, let's let the coin decide how we're going to approach this situation.
Sure.
And when you flip that coin, it's always going to land on code blue. And when we operate, with our brain, with fearless, fast, physical, with being committed, being relentless, being unselfish, being tough, being in man of integrity, having loyalty, it makes life easy, right? There's no other way than to choose to go the hard route, to choose to go as hard as I can and put everything I can into it. So the guys are really embracing that, and to have a physical representation of that, at the beginning of practice, after we get done with our flex lines, they get together and they do their little breakdown, and I always come in and I flip that coin up in the middle, and they celebrate when it lands, and it kind of just gets the juice going a little bit at the beginning of practice, and just reminds them like, hey, this is what we have to do to get better today, and if we want to achieve our goals as a team, that this is the only way. And they trust in that process, and they're really embracing that too, and so they're buying into that, which our culture is really starting to take form, and it starts with player ownership. So
absolutely, there's an intensity just hearing you talk about
flip the
coin, baby.
Yeah.
So I tell you what, we're going to order a code blue right now. We're going to take a break, but when we come back, we're going to talk about Game 1 when the new Philly Quakers come to town. We'll be right back.
Hello everyone, I'm Tegan Evans. As many of you know, when the Louisville Herald moved on into retirement, the city of Louisville, Nimishillen Township, and all of its community members were left with a void. The community lost its ability to hear about local events, news, information, sports, and community projects. We lost the ability to come together for Louisville's betterment. Well, we have a solution for you, Spotlight Media Network. Spotlight Media Network is a place anyone can go, whether it be social media, YouTube, or our website, that will display information in different formats to show the best Louisville has to offer. One last thing, if you have something newsworthy or something you would like the community of Louisville to hear about, send us an email at spotlightlouisville1@gmail.com. So if you want to see what is happening in Louisville or the best Louisville has to offer, check out Spotlight Media Network, where we know Louisville is #1.
We are back here at YSN Live here at the Kappas Coaches Corner, and Coach Kappas, now we've talked about the preseason. The preseason's behind us. It's time for Game 1, the new Philly Quakers. So talk about this coming Friday. What do the Quakers look like, and what's the game plan? Maybe not the game plan, but what's the scouting report so far on the Quakers?
Yeah, I mean, I have tremendous respect for their program and what Coach Johnson's done down there. Find out firsthand last year just that they were, tough, physical, well-coached, disciplined football team. And, when it was a close game, going to the fourth quarter, and they executed at a very high level as the game got stronger and more big, and we didn't. And, so a ton of respect for them and what they've done and the consistency that they've had as a program under his tenure there. But that's what we're expecting coming in. They're gonna be a team #1 that's going to travel well. They're going to bring a big crowd with them, and they're going to be well coached. They do what they do very, very well. There's a lot of times you can almost call out sometimes, hey, they're only going to run a couple handful of plays out of this formation, but you better be on spot with exactly how you're defending those plays, because they're they do what they do well, both offensively and defensively, and teams like that, they're always going to be good on special teams, so they're going to give you a huge battle in that department, and that's an always overlooked part of the game too, and against a well-coached team that that can win or lose you the game. So we're really going to have to execute really, really well. We're going to have to tackle well. We're going to have to block well, and a game like this with two very similar programs, of us hopefully taking the next step here this year. It's going to come down to who can possess the football and who can make the least amount of mistakes and not turn it over. So expecting everything they got. That's what they showed us last year, and a team that's going to come out and really execute at a high level.
And now they have a veteran quarterback coming back here into his third year. What can you tell us about him?
Everything runs through him. He was, he crushed us last year at some times. He can use his feet. He can throw it really, really well. He's got a good arm, but very smart, good decision maker. You pressure him, he gets it out quick. If you drop back pass, you don't rush as many guys, he'll take off and crush you with his feet. But he can make all the throws. Very smart player. His experience shows that he's the kind of kid that when the game's on the line, he wants the ball in his hands, and they're going to put it in his hands. And he also starts on defense at safety as well. So they have a lot of players that play two ways, and we thought that'd be an advantage for us last year in the game. So we didn't have that many kids because a lot of their kids do play both ways, and they played really, really well. So expecting him to play well, and then they got a really good running back that's back. That's a big heavy load kid that can run and catch out of the backfield. They got some experience across the board in their skill positions, both offensively and defensively in the receiving cores and in the secondary. A lot of guys back there that can stretch the field and do a lot of things in space. And then they have a couple big kids back on the inside. So it's going to be a battle. It's always going to come down to who wins in the trenches first, and then who can win that turnover battle and not give up some silly explosive plays. So
Absolutely. Well, you've been through a number of 7-on-7s. You've been through a 3-day mini camp, spend the night at Mount Union. You've been through a couple full scrimmages, whether it's at or home Orville or at Boardman. Is this team, as you go into week one, is this team where you want it to be? And how do you feel just camaraderie-wise, leadership-wise? Where do you feel like you're at right now as a team?
We are right where I would really have hoped to have been, and it really comes down to, you never really know what the senior class, how they're going to take the younger kids under the wing, how they're going to, be a multiplier of the culture themselves, and these guys just across the board. And we haven't named captains yet. That's something we'll do this week. But our senior class in general they've embraced everything we're about. They're really bringing the young kids along, the freshmen, the sophomores, and showing them the way that this is the way it's going to be for a long time to come. Yeah. And, so I'm just super excited about that because we're doing things the right way. They're putting the work in that needs to be put in, and sooner or later, it's gonna convert to victories on the field. But this is a foundational class in terms of this senior class and the character that they bring and just the legacy they're going to leave just in terms of their leadership. So I'm super excited about that. And when the lights come on, they're going to play for each other. So they got to see that.
Absolutely, and that's been kind of encouraging to see because I've seen a number of your upperclassmen. Whether, a lot of times you guys have practiced or scrimmage, not only with your JV, which has included your freshmen, but also an 8th grade team that's starting for the first year this year at Louisville. But it's been encouraging to see your upperclassmen, especially your seniors, taking those guys alongside, or whether the seniors, the varsity's done playing, those guys are still out there engaged talking to younger guys. So just to your point there, it's fun to see. And
that's what championship programs do, just going through. When I played at Mount Union, I remember being a freshman and seniors coming up to me and saying, "Hey, this is what you did wrong," or like, "Man, this guy knows my name," and like that means a lot as a freshman when a senior does that, and it's, hey, that's how I'm going to carry myself when I get up through. Then, when you get treated that way as a freshman, and so I'm excited about that.
Well, good. Well, before we take off here, tell us a little bit about your 8th grade team. So the schedule for this week is the 8th grade plays this Wednesday, their first game in Louisville history, 6:15 at the stadium, a home game against Marlington, followed up on Thursday by our freshman team traveling down to New Philly, and then ultimately Friday, 7 p.m., the Leopards take on New Philly here at home. But tell us a little bit about the 8th grade team and just with new head coach Jake Atkins and just that staff taking over a brand new program.
Yeah, Jake's doing a phenomenal job, and he served on our varsity staff last year as our defensive coordinator, and just a code blue guy in every sense of the word. He loves football. He loves Leopard football, and when he said he would head up this program, I knew we'd be building a foundation that's going to be, huge for the growth of our culture, the growth of this football program for many years to come. So they're doing a great job. He's got a great staff of all Leopard alumni guys that know football, that care about the kids, and they're doing a great job. And I was blown away at our Blue game, our inter-squad scrimmage. They went out and they had their own segment of it, and I mean just how organized they were, how for those kids being the first time together and playing football all together as opposed to being in Little Leopards. I mean, those kids, they're bought in and they're flying around and executing at a high level. And they went and had a scrimmage last week and did really, really well and scored multiple times and didn't give up any touchdowns. Wow. So super excited about the future of that program. And, those guys are going to do a great job just molding those guys and, at the minimum, molding them into becoming the men that need to be where they're at when they reach our program. But I mean, where they're at football-wise too is awesome. So I'm excited to watch them on Wednesday.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, before we take off here, Coach, is there anything you want to convey to our viewers at home, just about expectations for this coming Friday? And I'm not obviously asking for a score prediction, but just what can our people expect when they show up Friday night and that ball goes up in the air for the first time at 7 p.m.?
Yeah, I mean, you're going to see a team that worked their tail off all summer. The team that's put the work in to give ourselves a chance to compete in every single game and a chance to win. And we always say when you turn on the tape or you come see us live, we want you to say that's a team that plays fearless, fast, and physical football because that's our brand of football. And a team that's always going to battle to the very last play, whether we're up, whether we're down. We're going to play with class and. Just go out and put it on the line for each other, for our school and for our community.
Well, I tell you what, ladies and gentlemen, I've been fortunate enough to be a part of this Louisville community for a long time. And I remember as a child going through a pretty tough decade in the 80s for Louisville football. But the night was darkest before the dawn at the early part of the 90s when the Leopards came back roaring like Leopards. And I tell you what, I'm smelling something special here on Silver Street. Please come out for us Friday night. I'd love to see a big crowd there, and just know these Leopards are ready to roll. Coach, thanks for joining us.
Thanks, John. Appreciate it.
Well, thanks for joining us. Have a good night, everybody, and go Leopards.
YSN thanks you for watching this presentation of Your Sports Network. For stories, stats, and more, go to ysnlive.com.